kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
It is a massive and daunting place to race, but tonight it will host round number 3 of the iSNF Cup Series season, the iRacing HQ 250 from the iRacing Superspeedway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening as we get set for tonight's race in the iSNF Cup Series. Now, before we take a look forward into this race, let's take a trip back to last week at what happened with the race at the Nashville Superspeedway that was supposed to be round number 3 of the season. Well, the answer to that will be found in what is going on in Daytona Beach, Florida this week. Actually, what's going on right now. The Rolex 24 at Daytona is in progress. They're just about to hit the 4-hour mark. Well, last week was the iRacing Rolex 24 at Daytona, and a lot of the drivers that compete here in this series on a weekly basis were all competing in the iRacing Rolex 24 at Daytona. So what the league decided to do was they decided to postpone last week's race. They have moved it to that Easter break that was supposed to be after Monza. I believe it's the 30th of March was the date that was the off week was supposed to be. They swapped the two, so the off week was last week. The Nashville Fairgrounds race will be on that Easter weekend of the 30th. So that is what happened last week. What is going on this week is going to be a lot of fun. It is, again, the long racetrack here, what was formerly known as the Coca-Cola Speedway in NR 2003 is now the iRacing Superspeedway here in the sim. We'll take a look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. Angel Hernandez currently out in front by a healthy 18 points over Mark Morton. But again, everything and anything can change here at a racetrack like this, especially with how we are going to do qualifying here today, because it is a fantasy track and you may as well have as much fun with the fantasy as you possibly can. We are going to be doing open qualifying, so it'll be an open 10-minute qualifying session to determine the starting grid here for tonight's race. And with it being an open qualifying session, we're going to see a lot of drafting being a big factor here in this race. You also want to see who is going to be the last one to cross the line once that clock hits 0, because unlike the individual qualifying runs, everyone will get a chance to finish their lap no matter when the clock hits 0. And as we see Chris Van Maastricht roll out onto the racing surface there, passing the screen just a second ago, that means it is time. Qualifying has begun here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Trying to find Chris Van Maastricht on my timing and scoring pylon, and for some reason I keep on skipping over him. But right now we'll take a look at the man who currently leads the point standings. There is car number 45, Angel Hernandez. And another thing you'll notice with the update that came out last week, there is a change. We noticed that there were a lot of drivers, especially in that Penske camp, that were running effectively mock-ups of what the 2024 Ford Mustang is going to look like in the Cup Series. Well, no need to guess at what those are going to look like anymore. They have been integrated into iRacing. Same thing with the 2024 Toyota Camry. So those cars are in. Not much has changed with the Chevrolet as we see the 48 of Brian Chu there bumping away at the 22, who's currently out in front of the pack, and he will be, looks like he's going to be falling back a little bit, as that is Charles Halterman driving the number 22 this week. Normally Dominic Sawicki's ride as the 22 will be in a sub roll. Shane Griffin back in his normal car, the 11. So that'll be a fun thing to see as this race goes on. First laps of qualifying set to take the run, as Brian Chu will be the first one to start a time, and we've got 7:50 left to go here. As already looks like Isaac Wilson did not like the run he got, So he is going to vacate his qualifying run. As here we see two drivers that worked incredibly well together back at Daytona. That would be the 8 of Franz Bretschneider and the 3 of Charles-Etienne Boucher. And just like Daytona, they will be without the third wing of this team. The number 33 is not here this week. Again, just as he was missing at Daytona. So these two will be up on the wheel here tonight, as you would expect. The Hendrick cars getting the first run of qualifying. As these guys put their first lap in, unfortunately must have hit a wall somewhere. That lap is not valid, as you see the 48, the 5, and the 77 rolling around track. 77 today being piloted by Fabrizio Lamana, who did get a valid qualifying time in. Next group coming in, Brian Treadwell at the back of this Ford-led group. It's Rosa Laszlo at the head of the line. 17 of Larry Fairman. Got the 4 of Justin Barkley. The 36 is in this group as well. It's going to be all about positioning here in this race. One thing I'm noticing as Rosa Laszlo peels away, he'll fall to the back of this line. One thing I am noticing quite a bit of, the doors on the Fords do appear to be a lot more rounded than its other two compatriots, as we see the new Toyota Camrys down on track. 2 Gibbs cars and 1 2311 car. Michael Gervey leading this line. He was the fastest in practice, was that DeWalt number 20. Last season's champion, Joshua Grosso, there as well, as is Shane Griffin. 5th, 6th, and 7th for this trio. Like Simon's still locked in this group here. Right on board with Simon. You can see just how steep the banking is around here and just how wide this racetrack is. Potential for a wild finish here at the iRacing Superspeedway is ever evident. Franz Bretschneider, Charles-Etienne Boucher, and it's Mark Morton in car number 31 up on that outside line. We should have 35, 36 drivers here tonight for tonight's race. This little trio here led by Joey Maines in the number 9. I believe that will be Chase Elliott's primary scheme for next season, what he is sporting. 13 car, usually piloted by Jackson Carr. Today will be piloted by series debutant Robert Lynch in the number 13, and then Christian Delgado, who also had a very good run, as well as teammate Mark Morton at Daytona. See what those guys could do here today. Another group following behind, that's the 54. Leading the line there of John Hopley, another series debutant here tonight. Actually, pardon me, John Hopley is a returning veteran of the iSNF series. Picked one heck of a place to return. It's Isaac Wilson, car number 24, leading the line. Jerry Parker, Michael Iskander, who missed the race back at Daytona, to open up the season in this group as well as Adrian Arenas, car number 14, 4th car in line. Ryan Treadwell currently leading the line. Car number 78, that Gunk Chevrolet. Currently the fastest car in qualifying. These drivers will have about 2, possibly 3 laps left, depending upon where they are on the racing surface. Again, the clock will not expire on these drivers to end qualifying. Qualifying only ends when everybody has crossed the line to complete their lap, as Christian Delgado now in the middle of this big pack. Fastest car overall, the 47. We saw that 47 being driven by Bob Wyckoff. He was leading a group just behind, and they have caught up to this trio as Joey Maines goes to the back of the line, trying to position himself, as these drivers will have about 2 laps left here of qualifying. Try to make hay while the sun shines, and that was a big point of emphasis a couple of weeks ago at Rockingham. While the sun shines, we were plunging into darkness towards the end of that race. Cloudy, overcast conditions here at iRacing Superspeedway, but as far as the session time goes, we will not have to worry about visibility come the end of this race, as Wyckoff moving towards the back of the line. Brian Treadwell getting back up to the front. Take a look at the track map. That is where your favorite driver is currently running. Only see a couple of numbers right now, but that is where they are in relation. So I believe the 36 of Mike Simon, there he is. He's running solo. He's fallen back off. So his qualifying attempt here today is done. I believe Brian Treadwell, this group here, pardon me, the group in front, led by the 22. These are going to be the first drivers to end their qualifying effort. Here they go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I believe Matt Metler might just be the last one to qualify. Franz Bretschneider, Charles Etienne Boucher, Brian Treadwell, 1, 2, and 3. Their qualifying attempt is over. Christian Delgado leading this group. They will end their qualifying efforts. Treadwell still leading away, looking for car number 1, Michael Iskander. And his group have finished. Treadwell survives. Try to find the 31 of Mark Morton here. He's coming through. This is down the back straightaway. This group here is done. Matt Metler completed his qualifying effort, and I believe that will do it for qualifying. Everybody else either slow, single file, off the pace. So qualifying here has now come to a close, and Brian Treadwell will take the pole here for tonight's race. Couple of cars did not qualify. We'll get to who it was in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the starting grid here for tonight's race. As mentioned, Brian Treadwell with a time of 54.795 will start on the pole, with Charles Etienne Boucher to his outside in row number 1. Franz Bretschneider and Mark Morton will make up row number 2. Christian Delgado and Joey Maines will sit in row 3. Mike Simon and Justin Barkley make up row number 4. Larry Fairman and Robert Lynch, again, series debutant, in row number 5. Tristan Bailey and Matt Metler in row 6. Row 7 will see Rhea Ferris and Shane Griffin. Michael Gervey and Joshua Grosso in row 8. Angel Hernandez and Brian Chu, row 9, with Steven Sear and Isaac Wilson, the Hendrick pair, in row number 10. Jerry Parker and Fabricio Lamana will make up row number 11 with Adrian Arenas and Jonas Skoglund in row number 12. Row 13 will go to Michael Hagstrom and John Hopley. Bob Wyckoff and Michael Iskander, row 14. Jack Jagerman and Chris Van Maastricht in row 15. Chris Smith and Charles Halterman, row 16. Row 17 will go to Alan Bergen and Rosa Laszlo with Curtis Kelly and Jeff Weimer in row 18. Row 19 will see Eduardo Carapato and Casey Tomlinson. Curtis Kelly, Jeff Weimer, Eduardo Carapato, and Casey Tomlinson not setting qualifying times here for tonight's 84-lap event. Weather conditions here for tonight's race. We are just past 4 p.m. in sim time. Not quite on this day, so we'll have a little bit more sunshine that we'll be able to deal with here today. Wind blowing 2 miles an hour to the south. 65-degree ambient temperature, 68-degree track temperature, but it is an overcast and humid day here at the iRacing Superspeedway as drivers work their way onto the grid for the start of tonight's event. What we'll do now is we will take a quick moment, if I can find him here, try to speak with our pole sitter, Brian Treadwell, who has partnered himself up with the RCR cars here today. Brian, pole for the first time this season, third race of the year. Solid run for you in those RCR cars here in qualifying.
Yep.
Just kind of give a preview of this racetrack. It is a difficult little place to run. It's very wide, very fast, and could be very intimidating. What are you looking forward to here in this race today?
Keep it clean. Just keep it clean. I've been at this track plenty of times. They bump into the corner and bump off.
All right, well, we're seeing you guys are starting to roll off. Good luck to you here today, and go and get them. Hopefully we'll be talking to you a little bit later.
Yep, definitely. Hope so.
So that was Brian Treadwell, pole sitter here tonight, and beginning off on what is going to be a very long pace lap here at the iRacing Superspeedway. These pace laps going to be taking up quite a bit of time here tonight. Again, 54 seconds to get around here at full song in the draft. So for some of these guys, here tonight, it could be quite a long race, especially if you're damaged up trying to catch back up into line. It could be, has the potential of being quite the night here for some of these drivers. Again, it will be 38 drivers set to take the run here for round number 3, second Superspeedway race of the season. Remember, back at Daytona, full 200 laps, 2 fast repairs on offer on that night. Not quite that long and not quite that many fast repairs will be available here today. There's still 1 fast repair available for these drivers, but 84 laps getting set here for the green. Brian Treadwell leads them down. Charles-Etienne Boucher to his outside. Into the restart zone they go. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here at iRacing Superspeedway. Already wide lines, low lines starting to form. That's Mark Morton. He was the Pied Piper for a lot of the race when it wasn't the RCR cars back at Daytona. Mark Morton up at the front. As it looks like the caution has come out already. Towards the back of the field, it looks like Chris Smith, car number 21, with some damage, as well as the 7 of Casey Tomlinson. Big damage for Tomlinson. Also looks like the 42 of Curtis Kelly has caught a bit of that as well. You see the front bumper not quite lining up, the back bumper not quite lining up either for that Legacy Motor Club machine. So we'll try to take a look here and see what happened here to open up this race. Chris Van Master, oh, that's the 41 of Alan Bergen. Appeared to have gotten loose. It's the damage for Chris Van Mastrick that would have brought out that caution. See what happened here with Alan Bergen, car number 41. It looks like maybe he got a little loose. Cupping through 3 and 4. You heard Brian Treadwell here at the Open mentioned that there are 2 big bumps on corner entry and exit. Oh no. 41 pushing up into the side of the 1. Poor Casey Tomlinson had nowhere to go. It's right on board here with car number 7. Incident in front. 38 and 42 just pinched him into the wall, had nowhere to go. So that will be caution number 1. Quite a number of drivers coming in. Joey Maines, the highest running. A couple of Hendrick teammates coming in as well. Brian Chu, Isaac Wilson, also making their way down pit road. Stage breaks here tonight will be at laps 20 and 40 here this evening. Couple of, again, one fast repair on offer, 60% fuel fill for these cars here tonight. 4 sets of tires, 3 green, white, checkered. So these cars gonna have to make it work and make it count here tonight. And unfortunately for guys like Casey Tomlinson and Matt Mettler and Chris Van Mastricht and Curtis Kelly, looks like Van Mastricht and Kelly are going to try to fix their cars, but Casey Tomlinson certainly already having to take their first fast repair. Alan Bergen appears to be okay. He got some left door damage there just behind the 41. You can see it right in the middle of that door where the number used to be. Chris Smith has that right front corner pop back out. Car number 21, that Motorcraft Ford. And again, those are not decals on the front of those Toyotas. If you're just joining us now, there was an update for iRacing a little bit earlier in the week. And that update brought the new 2024 Ford and Toyota Camry into the sim. Saw the Penske cars, especially over the first couple of weeks of the season, rocking the custom 2024 Mustang with the rest of the field on the current car. That is now the current bone stock iRacing car. So all of the Fords will look like that. Same thing with all of the Toyotas. looking as their 2024 expected. So it will be Mark Morton chose to lead on that outside line, and it's no wonder why. 16 of Christian Delgado, the 13 of Robert Lynch. Right behind him, so that 31 and that Colleague Racing team has already gotten themselves lined up. Charles-Etienne Boucher started in second. He's fallen down to the inside of the second row. His teammate, Franz Bretschneider, there he is. Another key to that RCR success at Daytona earlier this season. Forced to take an EOL penalty relating to 2 weeks ago at Rockingham. Green flag is back in the air. We are racing once again here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Mark Morton taking the momentum down on the inside line, leaving his teammates out to dry on the high lane. It's Shane Griffin in car number 11 pushing him. Just how big and wide this racetrack is. How long these straightaways are, and around goes Mark Morton from the race lead. Staying green off the racing surface, and now has the car running back straight. So Mark Morton gets turned from the race lead, trying to fall back in line in front of the 4 of Justin Barkley. And now a new leader up front, and that number 31 car needs, in the worst way, a caution. Justin Barkley out in front, followed by Charles-Etienne Boucher, pole sitter Brian Treadwell, 36 of Mike Simon in the mix as well. We'll jump on board here, car number 9. This is Joey Maines. Sliding in line behind the 15, that's Michael Hagstrom. Turning John Hopley. It's a fixture in the early years here of iSNF, has been absent for the last few years, but has now returned. Looking back at Rhea Ferris from onboard Larry Fairman. Big checkup there from Fairman as the line caught back up onto itself. Justin Barkley still leading the way. Single file here at the iRacing Superspeedway, all the way back to Fairman in 7th. Then you get Michael Iskander looking to the outside. Big push from Joey Maines. Now Fairman jumping up to the outside lane. Joey Maines and Brian Chu take the middle, as do the 16 of Christian Delgado and the 13 of Robert Lynch. Those guys trying to make a move on the high side. Can fit about 6 or 7 cars wide here pretty easily. See Christian Delgado trying to pinch the 9 and the 48 up as high as he can, but nothing stopping their momentum. See that Sirius XM number 45 of Angel Hernandez trying to weave his way back up through into this group. The second of the 2311 cars. He's just taking whatever line is giving him momentum. At this point, he's got a couple of Gibbs cars in front of him, as all 4 of the Gibbs cars plus the 23 of Grosso have found themselves in a line, but Angel Hernandez, again, just trying to take whatever momentum comes to him here. He's got plenty of friendlies down on that bottom if he so chooses. Joey Maines making moves, trying to get past the 36, and will. Such a hard race as Mike Simon catches the 17 of Larry Fairman. The 2 of Jeff Weimer up against the wall. Still no caution. The 2 gets hit by the 22, and the caution should be coming out here. Again, this track's so big. It may not. There's the 17. And now the caution does come out. Here's the 22 of Charles Halterman making his debut. Jeff Weimer has already towed it back to the pits. And that started, I believe, with the 17 just trying to get back down into line and follow that group that was going past the 36. Fairman, I guess, didn't realize he wasn't clear. Yep, there it is. Fairman just clips the 2. And then it's the 2 catching the 22, which is the cause of the big problems here. And Fairman just following that group down. There's Weimer getting up into the wall. Down across the racetrack. See, his tires are locked, so he was trying to stop that car. And unfortunately for him, of all drivers, his teammate is the one that comes up and hits him. So now both Weimer and Halterman most likely will be taking fast repairs here in the first stage. Happens sometimes. You get so fixated on the car in front, trying to push around and get through, and unfortunately sometimes you miss what's going on around you. And I think that's where Larry Fairman unfortunately ran afoul. Only one driver currently out of the race. That would be the 42 of Curtis Kelly. He is done. And each driver does get one fast repair here tonight, as we see Mike Simon. Right front damage on his car, making his 4th start. That'll be a big key for him tonight. Again, 3 starts, 3 DNFs. So for him just to finish here tonight might feel like a win. This is one of the hardest places, or these types of racetracks, some of the hardest places to debut or to make a spot start. You have so many guys who are so used to running around each other on a week in and week out basis. Throw a new driver into the mix, it's a huge monkey wrench. Let's take a look here on board. The 4 of Justin Barkley. This is what happened earlier on, back on lap 5. That sent Mark Morton around and backwards. It's like Morton may have just misjudged. And the 4 looks like he's trying to make a move, and then 31 tried to block off that move. Is 4 making it pretty obvious he wants to take the outside line here for this restart. As we will get going here once again, we will have 6 laps to go, or 7 laps to go, until the end of the stage. Again, stage breaks will be at laps 20 and 40 here tonight. Round number 3 of the iSNF Cup Series. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome in. iRacing HQ 250. Here from the iRacing Superspeedway in Concord, Massachusetts. If you're wondering why this is round number 3, and if you're wondering why you missed the Nashville Fairgrounds last week, well, it has everything to do with what's going on at Daytona Beach now, as a matter of fact. The Rolex 24 at Daytona in real life going on as we speak. The iRacing 24 hours at Daytona going on last week. So many of the drivers here in this series, so many of the regulars here in this series competing in the iRacing 24. They decided to postpone the race. So last week's race at the Nashville Fairgrounds has been pushed back to March 30th, which would have been the Easter weekend off. And so now, because of that, this series will be running straight through until Memorial Day, which is a long string of racing from the end of January all the way to the end of May. Green flag getting set to come back out. Justin Barkley out ahead of the field. Green flag back in the air here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Oh, up into the outside line goes the 48. Must have thought he was clear behind the 16. And instead, Brian Chu just puts the 13 in the wall. Fortunately, everyone stays straight. I'm sure a multitude of apologies are going on as the caution flies back, further back in the field. It's like the 99 of Eduardo Carapato has gone around in that Tootsie Chevrolet. '17 of Larry Fairman around backwards as well. Fairman a lap down from his last incident, and unfortunately will not be able to get that car up and fired again. See what happened here with Carapato. Down into turn 1. Looks like Chris Smith just pushes up the racetrack. 36 finishes him off. Fortunately, didn't get into the outside wall. And then something a little bit later happens with Larry Fairman. But first, let's take a look back at that restart. Jump on board with Brian Chu. Watch the 48 here. Third car on the bottom lane. Tries to get around Rhea Ferris. And just jumps right up to the outside line. Shoves the 13 into the fence. Then the 99 of Carapato. And what happens to the 17 of Larry Fairman here? Feeling, unfortunately, something we won't be able to see. Got some left rear damage, so he might have gotten hit by somebody who was behind him. It was after the incident had already occurred. Under our third caution of the race, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the iSNF Cup Series here from the iRacing Superspeedway, round number 3 of Season 7. Back here at the iRacing Superspeedway under our third caution of the day as we get set to go for a couple of laps before the stage break. Here at the iRacing Superspeedway, and you saw there during the break a moment ago just how steep the banking at this racetrack is. Down at that apron shot up against what felt like a wall in turn 3. Up here it is, right here. And that is a long way up for these cars. And again, it is virtually straight up as we get set to go here to determine who will take the win in stage number 1. Justin Barkley on the outside line leads the field down. Green flag will be coming out once they get to the restart zone, which they do. Green flag in the air. We're racing once again here at ISS. Christian Delgado getting a very good jump, a very good push there to the number 4. Joey Maines, though, on the bottom, continuing as I believe we've got a spin in the back. Typically why these cars be bouncing around like this. Thought I had it fixed from last week. Unfortunately, it looks like still having some issues. Joey Maines out in front. Whatever issue there might have been at the back appears to have resolved itself. See cars like Chris Van Maastricht here slow in the back. Right now it is Joey Maines out in front. Brian Chu trying to take a run on the outside line. Maines being pushed by Treadwell. Rhea Ferris up here as well. Robert Lynch, Fabricio Lamana. Jack Jagerman all the way up here as well. Fabricio Lamana getting all the way down on the flat. Down the back straightaway. To the inside line. There goes the 48 of Brian Chu looking to take this stage win. We'll reset this during the break, so don't worry, this won't last. As Isaac Wilson pushing Brian Chu along. Steven Sear as well here in the 5. As Brian Chu crosses the line, he will win stage number 1. Brian Chu takes the stage. And with that, we will take a break to get this situation fixed. You are watching Sim Racing Media, the iSNF Cup Series, round number 3. Here from the iRacing Superspeedway, Brian Chu, Isaac Wilson, Steven Sear, a Hendrick 1, 2, 3. Back here at the iRacing Superspeedway, the iRacing HQ 250 issues hopefully sorted as we get set to go racing here once again. Isaac Wilson, Jonas Skoglund, Stephen Sear, Brian Chu, Charles-Etienne Boucher, your current top 5 as we get set to go. Isaac Wilson did not come into pit under the stage break, as well as Stephen Sear, Jonas Skoglund. Your stage winner, Brian Chu, there you see him on the second car on the outside line. These Hendrick cars came out of nowhere at the end of the stage. Joey Maines, who was the lead Hendrick car for the longest time, ended up falling out. Currently running now in 10th. See, just behind Charles-Etienne Boucher as we ride on board with him at the moment. Joey Maines made his 100th start last week at Rockingham. Embarking on a new century here today at the iRacing Superspeedway, but right now it's Jonas Skoglund currently leading the way, or at least he was, right up until Brian Treadwell moved him out to the outside line. Now it's Treadwell getting pushed by the 47 of Bob Wyckoff, leading away on that high line. Meanwhile, the Hendrick trio of Chu, Wilson, and Sear running line astern on that bottom line. Treadwell moving down to that inside line. Charles-Etienne Boucher down there as well. The 9 and 51 getting very close through turns 3 and 4. We know for sure the next caution will come out on lap 40. That will be the end of stage 2. For Brian Chu, it's his first stage win of the season. To take stage 1 in a sub roll here in car number 48. '48 car, which was run by James Bowles, will no longer be run by James Bowles this season. Jason Ricketts, a series veteran, will be returning next week when the series heads to the Charlotte Roval. And he will become the new full-time driver for that number 48. So Ricketts in, Bowles out, Chu in this week as a sub. Remember, mentioned last year, Brian Chu, who was in the 11 last season, stepping aside from full-time racing, has been running part-time here in this series this season. And now currently out in front. We got 24 cars here in this front group. Second group currently being led by Rosa Laszlo, Angel Hernandez, John Hopley, Christian Delgado, Rhea Ferris, and Adrian Arenas, who took last year off. And that IHOP number 14 back again this season. Ran at Daytona, missed 2 weeks ago at Rockingham, is back here this week. Making up the third group, the second group, pardon me. Michael Hagstrom currently tailing that front group. It's quite a long tail that front group has currently. Right now, Jack Jagerman is the connected tail of that first group. Chris Smith, Casey Tomlinson, who we saw wrecked on lap 1, used his fast repair to get back in the race. Shane Griffin, Michael Hagstrom, and Jerry Parker currently in the second group. This boy Jonas Skoglund getting very close to getting taken 3 wide as Mike Simon, again in his 4th start, swings down to that inside line. That blue and white number 36 for Front Row Motorsports. An odd push there to Jonas Skoglund from Eduardo Carapato, who's also seen some time backwards here in this race. And for the first time tonight, Franz Bretschneider really finding his way forward. Again, had an EOL stemming from that race back at Rockingham a couple of weeks ago. One of the guys who I'm sure was very happy to see that the race was postponed because of the iRacing 24 hours at Daytona. I'm sure he would have much rather taken that EOL penalty here than at the Nashville Fairgrounds, which should have been the race last week. '31 car, Mark Morton, working his way back up into the front pack. There he is leading that third lane up against the wall as Bob Wyckoff taking over the race lead just about halfway through this second stage. A lot of moving around, a lot of shuffling going on right now as we'll ride on board here with Franz Bretschneider. Heard Brian Treadwell talk about the big bumps here at this racetrack. You just saw one of them. Watch the second one here. It's a lot like Dover in that respect, where you tend to fall into the corner and then jump out onto the straightaways here at the iRacing Superspeedways. You see that battle for the race lead just in front as Isaac Wilson gets back out to the front. Start number 75 for him. Wilson, second place at the end of the first stage. I'm sure would love to take his first win of the season. Two different winners in two different races to start this season out. Angel Hernandez taking the win at the Daytona 500. Joe Burgy taking the win at Rockingham. Ooh, little nudge there from Wyckoff, forcing Wilson to jump up to that second line. Franz Bretschneider getting pushed along in that third lane. Ryan Chu peeking up into that middle as Bretschneider way up on that high line. 77 of LaManna there. Teammate Jack Jagerman behind him. A little bit wider went the 31 of Mark Morton. Oh, watch out. These cars do become quite the handful. And now Bretschneider will fall in behind Jack Jagerman as well as the 31. He'll fall in line as well as Bob Wyckoff. You see that big jump that he had, jumped a full lane up to that outside line. '51 of Jonas Skoglund getting shuffled out of line. Brian Treadwell, pole sitter here tonight, being pushed along by Boucher. Mentioned before how dominant those RCR cars were back at Daytona about a month ago. Brian Treadwell sitting on the pole. Boucher second fastest in qualifying. Treadwell is in with those RCR cars today, a temporary alliance between the 3, the 8, and the 78. Hendrick cars once again trying to make a move in that outside line, this time being led by Joey Maines instead of being pushed aside. Ooh, Brian Treadwell, I believe, Brian Chu, pardon me, I believe Chu just blew the engine. Saw that puff of smoke in the middle of the pack, and I believe Brian Chu has blown it up. Stops down on the apron at the end of pit lane, and that's exactly what happened. So Brian Chu, running in the middle of the pack, blows the engine and now is effectively taking himself out of the running for the race win. And nothing Isaac Wilson could have done at pods number 24. See how much damage he has to the nose. Doesn't appear to be any. It looked like just a firm bump draft. And apparently that's how the sim took it. As Brian Chu, stage 1 winner, now done. Fortunately does have that fast repair, so it won't be the half-hour sit and wait. But that will certainly dampen what was a very good day for the 48 is now the 19. Trying to lead that third lane. It's Tristan Bailey in that DeWalt Tools number 19. Jonas Skoglund pushing along. See if we can see that again. With the 48 of Brian Chu. See that puff of smoke there? That wasn't from the 24 hitting him. That wasn't from the 51 hitting him. That was engine. See it again. Watch the puff. Right there. It's a good job. He was in the middle of that pack. Otherwise, that could have been a very serious issue. Jonas Skoglund getting a little bit antsy, as is Isaac Wilson, as Joshua Grosso now leads that outside line. Fabricio Lamana in the 77 starting to fall towards the back. Brian Treadwell, Charles-Etienne Boucher pushing him along still. Just a couple of laps to go here in the stage. What has been a caution-free second stage here at the iRacing Superspeedway, and at this point, if a caution were to come out, that would be the end of the stage. See how calm these cars look right now down the back straightaway. I promise you, getting in the car, it's not that calm. They look very even, not really moving around, but boy, that bump especially, you saw the 36 take a wild little swing. That was nothing he did, that was him falling into the corner. Michael Iskander, that Busch Light car, that was announced earlier this week as the primary ride for Ross Chastain in the Cup Series in 2024. 2 laps to go. Remember, the stage ends at the start of lap 40, not at the end. And any of these 16 drivers that are up here in the front pack have a chance. There is Shane Griffin. He is currently leading the second group in the new 2024 Toyota Camry. Jerry Parker, Angel Hernandez, Christian Delgado, Casey Tomlinson, Rhea Ferris, Adrian Arenas, Mark Morton, all find themselves in this group. It's another small group. Chris Smith, Rosa Laszlo, Michael Hagstrom, Michael Gervey leading a group of himself, Justin Barkley, and the 22 of Charles Halterman. Everybody else a lap down as, into the inside wall goes the 51 of Jonas Skoglund. The 8 car is around, coming back up into the middle of the field. Rhea Ferris makes contact with the 51. Caution is out. That will be the end of the stage. 71 of Jagerman there as well. There's Jack Jagerman at WeatherTech number 71. 8-car Franz Brettschneider. They were just about to start really getting racing for the stage win. Fabricio Lamana is in the pits. There's a lot of damage on that 77, pardon me. Well, let's see what happened here. Caught it just at the very beginning. It was Skoglund and Brettschneider. Went away. 24 tried to sneak through the middle. And unfortunately for Jonas Skoglund, then there's a lot of net code, at least from that angle. The contact with Rhea Ferris. 71, 77, both getting collected with the 8. Jagerman takes another shot to the side, and Rhea catches both the 8 and the 71. Let's take a ride on board. So we on board the 12 of Ferris. They're screaming wreck, 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 wreck. Here let off. And there's from there, it doesn't look like she hit Skoglund, but we saw the live shot of her catching him from Jagerman here in the 71. Second bump here, and then a third coming. Boom, boom. So that is the incident that brings to an end stage number 2. Brian Treadwell, pole sitter here tonight, gets the stage. And will come out of the pits third behind Charles-Etienne Boucher and Mike Simon for the beginning of stage 3. As far as I can remember, and unfortunately I don't have it written down in front of me here, do not believe we have had a duplicate stage winner just yet here this season. Back at Daytona, Alex Ariltson won stage 1. Stage 2 went to Mark Morton. And the race went to Angel Hernandez. At Rockingham, stage 1. Went to both stages went to Angel Hernandez at Rockingham, so we have had a duplicate stage winner. Again, Angel Hernandez did not win that race. It was Joey Burgy last week, and Burgy not here to try to go back to back. Burgy, the typical driver of that number 77 that Fabricio Lamana is piloting this week. There's Lamana getting back on track. Just the 5th start. Lamana was in the 31 last season, but of course after the off-season car shuffle, Lamana finding himself as a sub-driver. Now putting himself in the number 77 here this week. two retirements here in this race. Curtis Kelly back on lap 2. Brian Chu done after 34 laps, and we saw why. That blown engine right in the middle of the pack. Jeff Weimer has been on pit road for the last 25 minutes in car number 2, the Discount Tire Ford, as the caution, I believe, has been extended as Rhea Ferris will make her way through, get a lap back. Scoring error, putting her a lap down. She's back on the lead lap now in 32nd position. So Jeff Weimer, I would assume, getting a new engine put in that Penske number 2. Which is why he's been down on the pits for almost a half hour at this point. Still technically in the race, Larry Fairman, Fabricio Lamana, and Charles Halterman. The only 3 drivers that are no longer on the lead lap. Charles Halterman, the only car 1 lap down at this point. Lamana is 2. Fairman is 8 down, and right now we have an issue with Alan Bergen, who has jumped to the pits. Really quick, as we're still on the back straightaway, let's take a look and see what happened with Bergen. It's on the outside there. And in a very controlled manner, pulls it off the racing surface and into pit road. Now, whether or not that is a VR headset issue, we've seen those. It didn't look like a hardware issue for the 41, or, God forbid, a non-sim related issue. Remains to be seen, but right now, Charles-Etienne Boucher leads the field down. Green flag back in the air, and a great start for Boucher, as he will get down in front of Brian Treadwell as we get back racing here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Joey Maines getting a very good run up the middle as Michael Iskander being left out to dry on the outside lane. Swinging up, I believe that was Matt Metler in the 60. Swinging up to the outside lane, it was. There's Metler in the middle. Not quite to the inside of Eduardo Carapato, and now will fall in line. Top 5 cars, single file from there on out. It's anybody's guess. Seen Adrian Arenas in the back, relaxing here for most of this race. He has now jumped into the fight. Up into 10th. Big wiggle out of Arenas. Just because they're running single file doesn't mean these cars cannot get loose in the corners, as you just saw there with Arenas. You swing that wheel too far to the left or too far to the right too quick, they'll go around on you just like any other track. Jump on board here with Steven Sear in just a moment with the gyro cam, so you can see what these drivers are having to deal with as we ride on board with car number 5. 201. Having to back off, and then here's the banking. That into perspective, it is a 36-degree banking at Talladega. Even the straightaway banking here is quite significant. It is not a smooth transition onto the apron at any point around this racetrack. Big wiggle there from Joey Maines. A little bit of a bump as we jump on board now with Michael Hagstrom. Down on the bottom, we see Steven Sear out there on the high line. Charles-Etienne Boucher leading the way. Carlos Delgado down on that inside line, riding on board with him. There's Boucher out in front. Fourth start, age 17, out of St. George, Quebec. But the rest of the series on notice back at Daytona. He was going to be a force to be reckoned with. And boy, oh boy, has he proven it. Just one heck of a track, one heck of a facility. Again, not a real track, Concord, Massachusetts. Known as the Coca-Cola Speedway back in NR 2003. Brought to iRacing just about 2 years ago at this point. Watch Joshua Grosso in that outside lane as we're just past halfway. We've had 5 cautions here in this race, 4 for incident, 1 being a stage caution. An incident caution bringing out the end of the stage for stage 2. As we are most certainly in the logging laps portion of the race here today. Just about 33 laps to go from the iRacing Superspeedway. We'll take a quick break, be right back. You're watching the iSNF Cup Series round number 3 here from the iRacing Superspeedway. We are logging laps here at the iRacing Superspeedway, and no, this is not a helicopter or a drone shot. This is from the spotter stand here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Quite a long way and a lot of viewing space that you get to see around this racetrack, and as it is with almost any superspeedway, it seems to be everyone's playing a game of follow the three car, and today it is Charles-Etienne Boucher who currently finds himself as the three car. Brian Treadwell, Mike Simon still following along behind. Tristan Bailey was down on the inside line but is now starting to move his way forward with the friendly push of a teammate, and last year's champion Joshua Grosso behind him. It has been quite calm here for the most part since a wild first stage here at the iRacing Superspeedway. There is Mark Morton being put a lap down, and this better time than any to go through a little bit of a race summary. Right now we do have 5 retirements here in this race. Fabricio Lamanna, Alan Bergen, Brian Chu, Jeff Weimer, and Curtis Kelly done for the day. Right now no longer on the lead lap, Mark Morton, Charles Halterman, Chris Smith, and Larry Fairman. Those drivers are a lap down or more. Mark Morton now is the free pass car. There he is in that Mountain Dew number 31, latching on to, or trying at least to latch on to the tail end of the first group. If he can't do that, he does have a fallback. Right now, the 24 of Isaac Wilson, who finished second in stage 1. Jonas Skoglund, who took a fast repair at the end of stage 2. Currently leading the second group of cars, 21st position on back. Isaac Wilson, Jonas Skoglund, Robert Lynch, Angel Hernandez, John Hopley, Jack Jagerman, who took a fast repair as well at the end of stage 2, and Jerry Parker, again Larry Fairman, multiple laps down, is also in this group as well. There is Rhea Ferris with one teammate in Charles Halterman, who is 1 lap down, and a friendly in Chris Smith, who currently finds himself a couple of laps down as well. Rhea Ferris is on the lead lap in the 28th position. They're riding a very lonely race at the moment is Chris Van Maastricht. He is running in the 29th position. Last car, actually now first car, not on the lead lap is car number 38, running around here at 177 miles an hour right now. Compare that to the lead pack, Charles-Etienne Boucher, who's plugging around here at 201. So there is your field wrap-up as we work lap number 57 of 83 here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Charles-Etienne Boucher out in front. Brian Treadwell, pole sitter, stage 2 winner. Currently sitting in second. Mike Simon third. Bob Wyckoff, Christian Delgado, Tristan Bailey, Adrian Arenas, Joshua Grosso, Rosa Laszlo, Joey Maines, Eduardo Carapato, all in this group. Saw the number 4 car in there as well. Justin Barkley, he has some laps led in this race. So a lot of moving around here as we run. So far, biggest movers of this race would be that Tootsie number 99 of Eduardo Carapato, making his 19th series start. Currently up 26 positions from where he started. Rosa Laszlo currently up 25, just in front in that number 6. Laszlo has been one of those drivers that has been very content to run in the second or third group, try to log some laps to get to this point. Not a bad strategy. especially when you have a faster pair to lean on. Get caught up in a wreck in the second half of the race. It doesn't take you out the way it might for some others. Adrian Arenas, that IHOP number 14, he has done the same, as has Bob Wyckoff. Wyckoff has been up towards the front for a good portion of this race, plus 23 positions, another big mover. Casey Tomlinson, you're seeing up by the wall there at the back of this front group, up 19 spots as he slots in behind Shane Griffin. Again, there's Isaac Wilson running in the 21st position, 5 seconds adrift of the second group. And with the times, the way they're running, right now, Charles-Etienne Boucher, who is the leader of the overall race, there he is, running a 55.423 last time around. That's second lap of the time down on the bottom. That is back to Isaac Wilson, who is the leader of the second group, about a half a second gained by Boucher over Isaac Wilson. So there's the speed difference between the two packs. And we should be coming up to, I was just about to say it, we should be coming up to pit stop soon here. And Boucher, oh, big contact. That's Bob Wyckoff into the outside, into the pit wall, getting into Brian Treadwell, and that will cost Wyckoff a fast repair. Much like the Indy cars at Indianapolis, the actual pit speed line here is well inside the pit wall. So you do have the possibility of an incident like that. And unfortunately for Bob Wyckoff, he was the example. See it here. Wyckoff coming off the track. He's the fourth car. Treadwell, boy, Treadwell, the way he was coming in pit road didn't really leave Wyckoff a lot of room to get in safely, but you can also say Wyckoff should have been further over to the left. Rosa Laszlo, Matt Mettler stay out. Tristan Bailey, Joshua Grosso, Justin Barkley, Michael Gervey, Shane Griffin, Casey Tomlinson, Hopley, and Jagerbin all coming in. There's Rhea Ferris on her way out. Rosa Laszlo, Matt Mettler, Franz Brettschneider, the only three that have yet to come down pit road. So you're getting about 20, 22 laps worth of fuel, which means all of these guys should have to come in again, barring a caution. Laszlo, Mettler, and Brettschneider might be able to stretch it the rest of the way. And again, just because they came in on lap 40, which is when the last time these drivers did come in was back on lap 40 at the stage break, that's not 20 green flag laps. We're about 20 green flag laps now. See Tristan Bailey, who at the moment will take the race lead over. So assuming this race stays green, everybody's going to have to pit again. 60% fuel fill. So these drivers are not playing with a full tank here. Rhea Ferris about to get put a lap down as both Laszlo and Mettler get past. Mettler actually out quicker than Rosa Laszlo. Tristan Bailey in the race lead right now. Joshua Grosso holding on. Rhea Ferris trying to hold on. She'll be the wave around car at this point. there is Christian Delgado. Delgado, Simon, Carapato, Boucher, and Arenas in this group of 5 trying to chase down the race leaders. And because Rhea Ferris is where she is, that has created a bridge, a draft bridge, if you will, for that second group of cars to suck up to the leaders. And what was a 3-car pack and a 5-car pack is now an 8-car pack, and that 5-car group has a run. Look at the 16 of Christian Delgado. Work to the outside. Mike Simon pushing along. Problem for those two right now is that nobody else went with them. The 99, the 3, and the 14 all stayed on the bottom. So these two may just have to sit and go to the back. So here are your top 7, plus Rhea Ferris, who's a lap down. Your next group is here, being led by Matt Metler, Rosa Laszlo, Shane Griffin, Michael Gervey, and the 54 of John Hopley is just off of this group. This is 8th down to 12th. They are 4.5 seconds behind the lead group. Just behind them, who you see flashing past now, 1.5 seconds behind, Joey Maines, Franz Bretschneider, Brian Treadwell, Angel Hernandez, and Mikhail Hagstrom. 2.5 seconds further behind, Jonas Skoglund, Michael Iskander, Robert Lynch, and the 31 of Mark Morton, who is not on the lead lap. The 21, who also is not on the lead lap, is in this group as well. As Iskander will look to get around Skoglund with the help of the 2 Colleague cars. Certainly got help from one of them. As Mike Simon finds himself in the lead here with 18 laps to go, and still a pit stop to be made. As green flag pit stops tend to do, the field has spread out significantly. Here at the iRacing Superspeedway, we have one more pit stop left to go. We'll take a quick break and take you to the finish here from the home of iRacing. Back here at the iRacing Superspeedway, 15 laps to go. We are under our 6th caution of the race, and you saw during the break, it was Robert Lynch who was sitting backwards in turn number 3, and there is why, getting into it with Jonas Skoglund. And that will not only bring the rest of the field closer together, this will allow these drivers to make their final pit stop of the day. A pit stop that it looks as though Matt Mettler, Rosa Laszlo, Christian Delgado, and Justin Barkley will not make. So some pit strategery here, as guys like Mike Simon, Shane Griffin, Tristan Bailey, who've all come down pit road here, all knew they couldn't make it. And will take the time to come down pit road here. Here's Charles-Etienne Boucher, Franz Brettschneider, Brian Treadwell. Fuel and go for a lot of these drivers, as Mike Simon wins the race off of pit road. So again, Matt Mettler, Rosa Laszlo, Christian Delgado, and Justin Barkley feeling as though this caution has done enough to save fuel to allow them to go the final, what I would assume would be 12 laps till the end of the race, and that would make sense. Matt Mettler and Rosa Laszlo both came down pit road on lap 62, which was 2 laps later than anybody else. But for a guy like Christian Delgado, who came in on lap 60 with the very first group under the green flag pit stops, very interesting that he did not decide to come in. So it'll be 60, 6, 16, 4, and 36. That will be your top 5. As lap cars now will get their chance to top off. There goes the 31 of Mark Morton. He will get the free pass. Rhea Ferris back on the lead lap as well, car number 12. Steven Sear coming down pit road in that HendrickCars.com number 5 machine. I believe this is the car that was released when McLaren announced that it would be in the Indianapolis 500 this year. This was the corresponding Cup car with Kyle Larson at the helm in the Indy 500. So Kyle Larson this year will look to do something only Tony Stewart has ever done, which is finish the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 on the same day. Plenty of other drivers have attempted it, but only Tony Stewart has been able to complete it. And that was back in the early 2000s, I believe 2001, 2002 would have been when he accomplished that feat. As we are getting set to go back to green flag racing with a dozen laps to go here at the iRacing Superspeedway, round number 3 of this season, completing caution number 6. Green flag back in the air once they get into the restart zone. There they go, green flag in the air. Mettler does not get a great start. He gets pushed off the line by Christian Delgado. Rosa Laszlo falling back as well on the high side. Mike Simon also giving a push in that 36. Remember, 2 weeks ago at Rockingham, we had 2 series debutants finish on the podium. Now, Simon may not be a debutante, but still, only his 4th start in this series, looking to get his first finish in this series. Matt Mettler running in first, looking for his first win. Christian Delgado as the caution comes out behind. Looks like it's the 17 of Larry Fairman slow. It is. There he is. The 52-year-old from Port Perry, Ontario. In just his 7th start here in the series, has not had it go the way of his 2 teammates. See what happened with Fairman. A lot of damage to the rear of that car. Oh, caught the apron. Chris Smith getting into it. Chris Van Maastricht. Steven Sear also catching a piece of it. Let's ride on board with the 17. Down the back straightaway. Watch out for the 12 of Rhea Ferris here. Well, just gets on the apron. Wasn't pushed down, wasn't reacting to a move, just caught the apron on corner entry. The tone of the engine change as Fairman pops down the gears. Chris Smith done for the day. Bob Wyckoff coming down pit road. Chris Van Maastricht, Steven Sear, all drivers that were involved in that incident coming down pit road. Three green-white checkers on offer here today as we get inch closer and closer to that. There's Michael Gervey running in 5th. Rosa Laszlo, who did not get a good start off the outside line the last go around. Tristan Bailey has been hovering around the front here tonight. Justin Barkley, Joshua Grosso, Angel Hernandez. Also here in the top 10, 7 of the top 10 drivers looking for their first win here in this series. Some, like Charles Etienne Boucher, single digits in starts here in this series. Others like Michael Gervey, Christian Delgado, Rosa Laszlo, north of 50. Which in this series means 2 seasons plus without a win. The more keen-eyed viewer there at the back may have saw something down the back straightaway. What looked like the 21 of Chris Smith catching the outside wall, or one of the red cars, may have been Chris Van Maastricht. Well, just here to let you know that you're not going crazy, because I did see a car also hit the outside wall down the backstretch last time we went down. That was basically the point of that. 9 laps to go. We'll have 8 to go at the line. Matt Metler and Christian Delgado on the front row. Mike Simon and Charles-Etienne Boucher, row 2. Row 3 will go to Michael Gervey and Rosa Laszlo. Tristan Bailey, Justin Barkley, row 4. Angel Hernandez, Joshua Grosso, row 5. For some of these drivers, it has been a while without a win. So Charles-Etienne Boucher up there. A little bit of a connection issue. Seems to be back in all good here for the moment as we get set to go racing. 8 laps to go here from the iRacing Superspeedway. Round number 3 of the season is back green here. Matt Metler under control, really held the field down. And that bogged that inside line down, allowing Christian Delgado and Boucher to get the run off the outside line. Second consecutive, rather slow start for Matt Metler, and now the 2 Roush teammates of Metler and Laszlo battling side by side. You saw the 23 of Joshua Grosso push out to the wall. It's a joke, it's an adage. In real, wow, big time wiggle there from the 9 of Joey Maines. Around goes Gervey. Caution is out. A big incident here in turn 3 and 4. Rosa Laszlo slow behind Rhea Ferris. Michael Hagstrom with damage. Joshua Grosso we saw go sideways. Jerry Parker, there he is. It's a lot of damage on the 54 of Harpley as well. Or Hopley, pardon me. Shane Griffin with some left side damage. See nose damage on the 22. Brian Treadwell. Pole sitter and stage 2 winner with damage. Well, we saw live that may not get to see everything that happened here or anything that happened really. Now, let's try and see what we can see. So we saw the move that Joey Maines had made. And then, yeah, there's Franz Bretschneider also around. You saw the 11 there just barely catching into the wall. There's the 8 of Bretschneider, the nose damage on his car. Just try to bring it back a little bit further here. Joey Maines on the outside behind Joshua Grosso in the 23, and watch the 9 shoot down here. Swings right to the middle, off the nose of the 6, hits the side of the 14, and then bounces into the 23. And then from there, it's anyone's guess. 43 of Jerry Parker was up on his side at the very least. See if we could see how much of this we could see from Rosa Laszlo. Again, just right across the nose. 15 gets turned by the 8. Rhea Ferris, who had just gotten back on the lead lap. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see much of anything there. But a big incident here, bringing out our 8th caution of the race. Longest green flag run of the race. We have had a couple. Had a couple touching 20 laps. We got a green flag pit cycle in, but now we're starting to get to that point of the race where it becomes super speedway racing. A lot of people trying to make moves. This is what happens sometimes. Well, most of the time at super speedways. So among the cars involved in that incident, Rosa Laszlo, Michael Hagstrom, Joshua Grosso, Rhea Ferris, Jerry Parker, Franz Brettschneider, we are getting set to go for hopefully the final time here at the iRacing Superspeedway. 4 laps to go. Again, 3 green-white checkers are on offer as standard. As we get ready to roll, green flag about to come back out. Christian Delgado in control of the field. Car number 16, green flag back in the air. 4 to go here at ISS. A lot better start this time around. Tristan Bailey getting left behind a little bit with Etienne Boucher going down to the inside line. Michael Gervey pushing his way along now. Gervey's got some friends on that outside line, the 19 and the 45, who are now going to push past him as Tristan Bailey is going to get pushed all the way out to the front. Bailey to the race lead on the outside line. Christian Delgado just barely hanging on that inside. Joshua Grosso, that blue Dr. Pepper machine, car number 23. 3 wide, all alone in that 3rd lane. Just used a fast repair after the last crash. And now another caution is going to come out behind. This will trigger a green-white checkered, as I believe this time it is the 47 of Bob Wyckoff. Fortunately for him, does not appear to be too much damage, if any. See what happened with Wyckoff. Gets pushed by Treadwell. Treadwell into the fence. Just a little bit of rough drafting here. See it again. Into the side of Rosa Laszlo. Fortunately for Laszlo, doesn't catch the wall. Brian Treadwell, this has certainly been a tale of 2 races. Started on pole, was running up front, got split up from Charles Etienne Boucher after the second stage. And his race has gone in a downward spiral since then. We're going to take one final quick break here as we get you set for the green-white checkered finish here from the iRacing Superspeedway, round number 3 for the iSNF Cup Series. Coming up here on Sim Racing Media tomorrow, or pardon me, on Monday, will be the season opener for the Roughneck Racing League's Gen 6 Series. They will open up their season at Texas. The All-Pro Sim Winter Challenge Series will hold round number 8 at Hickory Motor Speedway. That will be on Monday. On Tuesday will be 2 races. The Elite Truck Series, the Racers Elite Truck Series, round number 12 from the Kentucky Speedway, and the Ricmotech, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Xfinity Series. Round number 13, the first race of the round of 8 at the Homestead Miami Speedway. That will be on Tuesday here on Sim Racing Media. And we know, I believe, next week or in the upcoming weeks will be the return of the Sunday Night NASCAR Series. A lot of other fun new series coming here to the channel starting up in the next couple of weeks. But before we get to any of those, we have one more race to go here green-white checkered first attempt at it. Here for the iSNF Cup Series, Tristan Bailey in control on the outside line. Green flag is in the air. First official attempt is underway. With already Christian Delgado trying to get to the inside of Angel Hernandez. Saw Hernandez earlier on in this race, has not made too much of an impact. Then again, he didn't at Daytona earlier this month and took the win. Big shove from Hernandez to Tristan Bailey. Trying to get back to the white flag. Ooh, almost. The 36 going around. Michael Gervey jumps up to the outside with Matt Metler. It's like Metler may have overshot that outside lane, gets caught up in the third lane. Same thing with Gervey. And that move from the bottom to the top goes all the way to the top. Joey Maines, we saw him make a couple of moves earlier on. He's got the 24 of Isaac Wilson behind him. 1 lap to go. Here comes Christian Delgado to the outside. He's got Boucher pushing him. Michael Iskander, it's going to take him a second to get to the back of Angel Hernandez. Delgado to the outside. Look at Joey Maines go up the middle with Isaac Wilson. We saw the rush that Hendrick made going through the end of stage 1. Around goes Angel Hernandez. Michael Iskander going around as well. There he is in the back. More carnage in the back, but up front, Christian Delgado being pushed now by Isaac Wilson. The two pushers have swapped. It was Boucher with Delgado. Now it's Boucher with Joey Maines. Maines gets the run on the outside. He's going to come down in front of Delgado. Boucher has a good run. Coming down the front, but it's going to be Joey Maines blocking all 3 lanes to take his first win of the season, his 3rd win in the iSNF in his 101st start. As you can see at the back at the start line, all sorts of calamity behind. Christian Delgado comes home second, and by 1/1000th of a second, Justin Barkley collects third from Charles Etienne Boucher. What a finish. Again for Joey Maines, his 3rd win. Christian Delgado's first. He's unfortunately going to have to wait another week. And right now, let's get a word in with our race winner, Joey Maines. Joey, boy, you had that 24 all over the back of you. What a run at the end. Congratulations on your 3rd win.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, Isaac gave me lots of good pushes throughout the race, and especially there at the end, too. He did a really good job. All us Hendrick guys did. Unfortunately, Brian blew his engine early on, pushing me, and he got knocked out of it, but he was doing a really good job as well.
We didn't see a lot of guys moving up through the field, and a lot of guys decided to stay towards the back, but you were one of the guys that stayed up at the front for most of this race. What was your game plan here tonight? Just try to stay at the front, or just I'll wind up wherever I wind up?
With this track and these cars, it's a lot of track position. You can't really, you get big runs, but you have to have a group of people to go with you to keep up with the runs and actually make moves. So my goal was to just stay as close to the front as I could and do what I did.
Well, you certainly did just that. We head next week to the Charlotte Roval. That's where we're going. What are your thoughts going into the Roval now, knowing that you're locked into the playoffs? Don't have to really worry about that.
A lot of pressure off my shoulders because I absolutely suck at road courses. But it's really good knowing I don't have to worry about it, but now I can go and just practice road courses and try and get better at them.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Shout out to everyone in the league. It was racing got good towards the end. All the admin team, Rhea for putting the league on, you guys doing the broadcast, and everybody.
Well, congratulations, Joey Maines, your first win since back in Season 5 at Daytona, bud. Congratulations. Thanks
again.
And now we'll move to our second place finisher here, Christian Delgado. Christian, boy, it looked like win number 1 was in sight, but unfortunately came up a little bit short.
Yeah, it was bittersweet. I mean, I thought out of turn 4 I had it, and I think it was Joey who shoved the 3 car out, and it kind of, I was working with the 3. Obviously, their alliances with the Collick Racing Group, and so I was sitting in the VC with him, trying to strategize things out. I was actually super close on fuel. I didn't pit with everybody else to keep the track position. I actually finished with a half a lap of fuel in the tank left, so I was like praying that we didn't get another green light checker there. But yeah, I was working with Charles, and he was content pushing me out there. And then it looked like Joey just gave him a shot, and it got us disconnected. And then Joey got to us. And then when I saw that Isaac, which is Joey's teammate, behind me, I was like, well, we'll see what we could do here. But I don't think he's going to go out of his way to push a non-teammate to a win. So, yeah, bittersweet. I've this is the first of a couple of races I think I've let a win slip through my fingers, but I can't complain about a P2 here.
One thing we saw back at Daytona was you and the rest of your colleague team really were linked up together here. Were really linked up together all night long back at Daytona. Why do you think you guys just couldn't get that same link the way you had earlier this month at Daytona?
Well, I honestly think for us, we didn't have Alan in the car. Alan did such a good job at Daytona, just kind of being that third guy, giving me the shoves to give Mark the shoves. I would, and I'll go to my grave saying this. I'd rather push than be pushed. I love pushing people. It's just something that naturally comes to me. And Mark is someone who likes to be the leader. He likes to take charge and stuff. But here, I mean, I feel like Daytona and here are like polar opposites when it comes to super speedways, right? You can run basically any lane. The runs are like 10 times as magnitude. And Mark and I were linked up at the start there. And unfortunately, he self-cleared himself on the 4 and just couldn't get back up to the field. I, do some track position and did some differing strategies to get myself back up here. But, I definitely think Mark had the talent to get back up here, but with how hard it is to pass here sometimes at iRacing Superspeedway, if you can get the top rolling, then it rolls really well. But if you just have one person that isn't committed fully, then the top just dies here. So for a big, and you guys probably saw it on the broadcast, for a big portion, you saw everybody just training on the bottom just because it was the easiest way to go around here. But yeah, I think once Mark lost that track position, it's just so hard to pass. He couldn't get it back up here. Robert, he was up there on that one restart. It was us 3, 1, 2, 3 on the top. And when we got separated, it's just so hard to pass here that I just think they couldn't get back up to me.
We go to the Charlotte Roval next week. What are your thoughts going to that race? And you think you can get that first win on the road course?
I mean, I definitely love Charlotte, but it's probably not going to be. Don't put me in the sports book for getting the win there. Just the road courses are not my specialty. I love racing them; they're a lot of fun, but just have not been able to figure those out. Charlotte is one of my better road courses, but I know there's a lot of very talented road racers here in the iSNF Cup Series. So I mean, I'm going to be happy with the top 5, maybe top 10 there. And I think especially with no, hopefully no full full course cautions. Hopefully we don't have the big one at the Roval. It's just going to be about attrition and keeping the car clean and just putting yourself in a spot to get good stage points, keep the car clean, just get a good solid finish there.
All right. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, first of all, I have to give a huge shout out to my colleague teammates of Mark Morton. He's also the owner of College Racing with me this year for iSNF. Got a shout out to Robert. He did a hell of a good job today at here, being the best team player he could. Got to give a huge shout out to Jackson Carr. Also, he's supposed to be here in the 13 for part time, but he has IRL racing coming up, so just can't commit to do all the races. Also have to give a shout out to Alan, I mentioned earlier, was in the car at Daytona. Just all those guys are such good guys and really talented race car drivers, and wouldn't have anybody else in that 13 car. But got a shout out to Charles, trying to help me the best I could to get that first one under my belt, but unfortunately couldn't bring it home. But got to give a huge shout out for him, at least trying to give me a chance. Got to shout out my sponsors: Track Racer, Butt Kicker, Bully Coffee Company, Steel Car Renovations, and High Velocity TV. Got a shout out to the Bean Team. Thank you, Jeff, Jackson, Levi, Sully, everybody over there. And got a shout out to people over at twitch.tv/ChristianBoss13. I don't know what I'd do without you guys, and you guys are the reason why I keep pushing to be a better person and trying to be faster on track. And then lastly, I got to give a huge shout out to you, Frank, and everybody over there in the booth over at SRM. I know you guys work your tail off trying to put on a show for the fans at home. I definitely know what it's like, and the stress that it's like also, broadcasting in my spare time. So got to give a huge hat off to you guys. You guys do a hell of a job putting on a great broadcast every week.
Well, we appreciate that. A second place finish here tonight, Christian Delgado. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And with that will pretty much do it here tonight. Unfortunately, Justin Barkley not in the Discord to have a conversation with after a third place finish for him here tonight. So that will do it for us. And what a fantastic race we saw here today at the iRacing Superspeedway. A lot of fun, a lot of close racing. We did see some big incidents, a couple of iffy incidents as well, but still overall a great show put on here today. Let's take a look at the final results here for tonight's race. Joey Maines collects win number 3. Christian Delgado comes up just short. Justin Barkley rounding out the podium. Charles Etienne Boucher and Isaac Wilson, your top 5. Mike Simon, Adrian Arenas, Shane Griffin, and Michael Gervey, with Jack Jagerman rounding out the top 10. Tristan Bailey, Michael Hagstrom, Joshua Grosso, Rosa Laszlo, and Casey Tomlinson, your top 15. Angel Hernandez, Jerry Parker, Steven Sear, Chris Van Maastricht, and John Hopley in the top 20. Franz Bretschneider, Robert Lynch, Mark Morton, Eduardo Carapato, and Matt Metler down to 25th. Michael Iskander, Brian Treadwell, Charles Halterman, Jonas Skoglund, and Bob Wyckoff through 30th. Rhea Ferris, Larry Fairman, Chris Smith, Fabricio Lamana, Alan Bergen, Brian Chu, Jeff Weimer, and Curtis Kelly rounding out the field here tonight. So that will do it for us here tonight from the iRacing Superspeedway. We will see you all next week at the Charlotte Roval for round number 4 of the season. Until then, my name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. And until we see you again, remember, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.